Should I introduce myself on camera or should I just come in?
No, don't introduce yourself. We'll put your name, Julie, on the bottom. You can introduce Stoli. You can come out, you can come in saying, well, this was a recent show at the Continental, kind of, sort of. And try to look in the camera as much as you can.
Okay.
And don't like turn your eyes left, right, you know, stay focused and look in the camera as much as you can and only look there if you have to.
Okay.
That's your best bet. So, whenever you're ready, darling.
Oh, it's on.
It's on. 3, 2, and try to keep the energy up and all of that good stuff. 3, 2.
You just,
No problem. And 3, hey.
Stoli, stay. Okay, sit, sit. Good boy. Good boy.
3, 2.
You've just seen a clip from our most recent show from the Continental Divide, and it was the Feather Party. And I always try to put a theme to the shows. I guess it comes from when my mom would have gourmet parties in Arizona, and she always liked to have themes at the house. So I always try to make sure that the show is fun, and the minute you walk in the door, you feel like you're part of the party. We had a bikini party at Webster Hall, and everyone showed up scantily clad. So the Feather Party was really quite fun because everyone either wore feathers or received a feather at the door. And a special effects company called Direct Effects, one of my friends, Vita, at the company had made my feather fan for me, so I was really proud of that. I lived in Texas for a while, and in Texas I found my roots, and my influences were definitely very blues-oriented. I love Bessie Smith, I love Robert Johnson, Billie Holiday, even though she's not so much a blues singer, as she would be rolling in her grave if people really thought she was all the time. Those women had a lot of passion for what they were doing, and you could tell the emotion, and you could tell that they've really lived through it and back, and eventually they didn't end up living through what they had. So influentially, they're very much a part of my life and a part of my structure that I build my musicality on. It's really important for me to learn from my mentors, and I choose certain things in my life because of what other people have done, and I'm always in an educational point. I always try to place myself in an educational point, and so I go to as many conventions, and I choose as many seminars as I can. And one of my most favorite seminars is South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. And there you can go to, you can learn about promoting yourself, or college radio, or how to put together a good show, how to find a band, how to get your stuff to record labels. And I was always like that in school. I was always finding something new to do. And if you're in school, the most important thing to do is always remember that life is an educational process. And if you make an effort to find out answers, you certainly are. So I'm always trying to find out answers. So besides my influences and living in Austin, Texas, I'd like you to take a look at this clip. And it was featured on VH1.
That was good.
Can we try it again? I felt like I was saying too much.
No.
I can make it shorter.
No, that was good. You did introduce
Stoli. Duh. Okay. So actually, I can do it shorter. The Feather Show. I'll say the Continental, the Feather Show. Okay.
And take 2, and 1, 2.
You just watched a clip from our most recent show from the Continental Divide. This is Stoli, and he's my rock and roll god. He's been with me for a while, so he's kind of the Freckle mascot. At the Continental, I chose the theme, the Freckle Feather Party, and I really like having themes, because when you walk in the door, it's fun when you feel like you're a part of an event. And so the Freckle Party was something that if you wore feathers, or if you came in without feathers, you received one at the door, and you really felt like you were in the midst of something. He's a little camera shy. And so what I did is there was a company in Queens called Direct Effects, and my friend Vita there made the peacock feather fan for me. And I think it worked really well with the theme of what had happened. Before that, we had the Freckle bikini party at Webster Hall, and that one was really fun because we had people coming in like scantily clad clothing, men, women as men, you know. They were all like pushed up and pretty crazy, and that was certainly a lot of fun. I grew up in Arizona, but I spent a few years in Texas, and in Texas I really found my roots. And my influences come from blues influences, Robert Johnson, Bessie Smith, Billie Holiday, and they really taught me to keep my feet on the ground in a sense of watching them and understanding their devotion to their craft and their passion and their emotion that comes out of what they played because they lived it. And so unfortunately I have, or fortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to experience some of the pain that they experienced as artists at the time because of prohibition, because of segregation and things like that, that I've chosen to try to influence my life with education. So I go to as many seminars as possible, as many events, ask a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions. And my favorite seminar, I think, for the music business is South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. There's, you can learn a lot there. You can learn about promoting yourself, finding a band, getting stuff to A&R people. There's just so much to learn, and I really make an effort to try to find educational avenues. So if you're in school and you're thinking about going into any part of business, the best thing to do is always ask questions and always try to find answers. And so I love Texas. And in this next clip, you'll get a chance to see a section of the South by Southwest conference, and it was shot by VH1. Take a look.
Yeah, I think both of them are fine. The second one, we could introduce
Christoli.
So. Ready, darling? And 3, 2.
You just finished watching a clip from our last show at the Continental. It was the Freckle Feather Party. And this is Stoli. He's somewhat of the mask, one more time.
But somehow I hear a lot of, oh, maybe your hair is.
That's
just,
it.
Yeah.
That damn hair. The hair.
Hair. And take 2, 3, 2.
That was just a show that we had at the I knew it was going to come. One more time. Sorry. Sorry, Wolfgang.
No problem. And 3, 2.
You just had a chance to watch part of our last show from the Continental. It was the Freckle Feather Party. And this is Stoli. Say hi. He's been my buddy for a long time. He's the rock and roll poodle, and he's somewhat of the Freckle mascot. He goes with me pretty much everywhere, except for nightclubs whenever we have shows. I always try to choose a theme when I have shows. The last theme was the Feather Party, and we had many people come in Freckle feather paraphernalia, feather boas, and or feather jackets, feathers in their hair. And if they didn't wear a feather, they were given one at the front door. I really like theme parties. The theme party before that was at Webster Hall. It was the bikini party. And everyone that had come into our show were wearing something scantily clad. They were men, women as men as women, and they were all pushed up and shoved in things and stuff. I really like having themes, so I always choose something that makes individuals, when they come in, if you come to a show, you feel like you're part of the event when you walk in the room, and it's just not watching someone on stage. I guess because I was raised in Arizona and then I moved to Texas, I I found certain influences in my music, and those influences were very blues-based. Robert Johnson, Bessie Smith, Billie Holiday, even though she herself really didn't consider herself as a blues musician, the men and women of that era taught me to look at things passionately and taught me to see things for the emotional level that they had. Ooh, Stoli certainly is a little camera shy today, that's for sure. Oh, Stoli, are you being bad? I'm sorry. Stoli, come on. Can we start again?
Sure.
Stoli, sit. Ready? Don't bend down like that, because you don't look good when you're doing that, okay?
All right, and 3, 2.
That clip that you just saw was part of our show at the Continental Divide. It was our most recent show. It was called the Freckle Feather Party. And I like having theme parties where you show up and there's an event the moment you walk in the door. So at that party, people were either wearing feather jackets, feather boas, and if you weren't wearing something that had feathers in it, we gave you a feather at the door so you could feel like you were definitely part of the event. Before that, we had a bikini party that was thrown at Webster Hall, and everyone who was part of that event would come in something like scantily clad in tops and bottoms, and men and women who were men and men who were women, and they were all shoved in and pushed up and kind of, you know, moved all around, so it looked very tasty that evening. I do like theme events, so any one of our parties you can come in and feel like you're part of the crowd. When I lived in Arizona and moved to Texas, I found some roots, and my roots were very blues-driven, and some of my influences were Robert Johnson, Bessie Smith, Billie Holiday. Even though she in her time did not like to be considered a blues musician, she definitely was a part of me understanding what passion was about and where emotion comes from, and the drive that comes from living through it, or in all three of their cases, not living through it. So trying to take from my mentors and learning through, unfortunately, their mistakes, I try to bring some of that to my music and bring something of here to what comes through. I shouldn't say that it's so much my music. It's a gift that's given through you. And so my influences made a part of my life become something that is almost unexplainable for me, although I could try to put it in a definition. But growing up in Arizona and then going to Texas, I found that the educational process of what I was doing was very important to me. I always ask questions, lots of questions. And there's a really big convention in Texas called South by Southwest, and they have seminars all throughout the day where you can learn how to put a band together, how to get press, how to get radio, how to get your stuff to record labels, how to keep your dog sitting in one position. He's a little camera shy, so if you had a piece of cheese out there, he certainly would pay attention. If you're in school, the most important thing that I can say to you is not only to try to find answers, just ask a lot of questions. If you plan on going into business, not only getting involved with people who can teach you, but really searching for that answer, and always remember to stay part of that learning frame of mind, because life is an educational process, and if you start to think that you know it all, and unfortunately I fall into that every now and again where I think I just know what's going to be going on, I get slapped in the face with reality, and someone comes along or something comes along and teaches me something new. And so since this next clip that you'll see was shot in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest from VH1, I really hope you enjoy it and that you stay in school. See you later.
That was cute, the outro.
Was that too much?
No, but you did a lot of that, and you did that, and you didn't introduce Stoli in the beginning.
Okay.
I think would be nice to do.
Stoli, listen.
Now he's running out of patience, huh?
Okay, he's okay now. Sit. Hey, sit. Hey.
Okay, you did one more time.
One last time, we'll get it right this time.
And 3, 2.
That last clip that you just saw was from the Continental Divide. It was our most recent show, and this is Stoli. He's my rock and roll poodle, and he's been with me for a long time, and he's somewhat of the Freckle mascot. I always like to have theme parties, such as the Freckle Feather Party at the Continental Divide, that feather fan was made by a special effects company in Queens called Direct Effects, and my friend Vita put it together, so I really appreciate that. Thank you, Vita. I always try to have, like I said, theme parties, and the theme party that I had before that was at Webster Hall. It was the Freckle Bikini Party, and people who showed up came in with, you know, pushed up parts and bikinis and things hanging out, and men, women, women, men, the whole kind of entourage of individuals who like to show off parts of their body. That was certainly a lot of fun. So if you come to a Freckle show, be prepared to be a part of the event and not to stand by idly and watch. So I'm warning you. My influences come from living in Texas for a few years. They're blues influences: Robert Johnson, Bessie Smith, Billie Holiday. Even though she wasn't so much a blues singer, or she didn't consider herself a blues singer, her emotion and her passion for what she did, as well as Bessie and Robert, they came from a time during Prohibition and segregation, and their pain was very evident through what they put into their music, or what came through them through their music. And I try to live by my mentors' experiences and understand that it is an educational process. Unfortunately, they didn't get a chance to live through what the pain that they were living through. And what I try to do is, because we all do have that in our lives, I try to live through it, and I try to learn. And through my learning process, I go to as many seminars and conventions as I can. And I ask a lot of questions, and I sometimes don't get a lot of answers, so I continue to ask them. I find that my favorite convention is South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. And they have so many different seminars during the day where you can learn how to put a band together, how to put together a press release, how to get the press to your shows, how to get your stuff to A&R people, as well as how to get radio airplay. It's almost a bombarding of information, but it's like if I make the effort to find out what there is to know that I don't know right now, I find that it's this lifelong process of education. So if you're in school and you're planning on going to into any kind of business or any kind of field that is professional, it's probably wise to find out as many things as you can and go to as many libraries or seminars that are held within your profession, and learn and ask a lot of questions. And with that, this next clip you'll see was shot in Austin, Texas by VH1, and it's South by Southwest. Take a look. Bye.
Very cute.